A shocking statistic, as reported, is over half the burglaries take place when the occupier is at home. And anyone who has been face to face with an intruder in their home knows how terrifying that is. Some householders attempt to defend themselves from attack and their property from being taken. At times, there is considerable media attention of police investigations and prosecutions of householders who seem to be treated as criminals rather than victims. It's not surprising that the Crown Prosecution Service has revised and clarified its guidance entitled Householders and the Use of Force Against Intruders 2018. So how far can you go to protect yourself, your family and your property? Can you shoot a burglar? Beat them up with a cricket bat? Hit them over the head with a frying pan? This is a Community Legal Education presentation. My name's Nasir Hafizi and here's 10 questions and answers about what you can and cannot do when faced with an intruder. You don't have to wait before you're attacked by an intruder. If you're in your home and fear for your safety or others, the law doesn't require you to wait before you are attacked before using reasonable defensive force. Anyone can use reasonable force to protect themselves or others, or carry out an arrest or prevent a crime. If you find yourself in court, the judge will consider the following 2 questions. Was the force you used necessary? And if so, was the particular force you used reasonable? So long as you only do what you honestly and instinctively believe is necessary and in the heat of the moment, that would be the strongest evidence of you acting lawfully and in self-defense. This is still the case if you use something to hand as a weapon. Laying in wait for an intruder to enter the home with a baseball bat and then using it to protect your property would be considered unlawful because it's not necessary and certainly not in the heat of the moment type of action for self-defense to be considered necessary. As a general rule, the more extreme the circumstances and the fear felt, the more force you can lawfully use in self-defense. You are not expected to make defined judgments over the level of force you use in the heat of the moment. The force you use must always be reasonable in the circumstances as you believe them to be. Where you are defending yourself or others from intruders in your home, it might still be reasonable in the circumstances for you to use a degree of force that is subsequently considered to be disproportionate. Perhaps if you are acting in extreme circumstances in the heat of the moment and don't have a chance to think about exactly how much force would be necessary to repel the intruder. It might seem reasonable to you at the time, but with hindsight your actions may seem disproportionate. The law will give you the benefit of the doubt in these circumstances. No, disproportionate force only applies if you are acting in self-defense or to protect others in your home and the force you used was disproportionate. Disproportionate force to protect property is still unlawful. For example, using a baseball bat over a burglar's skull so that they release your laptop may be considered disproportionate use of force. If your action was over the top or calculated actions of revenge or retribution, for example, this might amount to grossly disproportionate force for which the law does not protect you. If, for example, you had knocked an intruder unconscious and then went on to kick and punch them repeatedly, such an action would be more likely to be considered grossly disproportionate. If you have acted in reasonable self-defense as described above and the intruder dies, you will still have acted lawfully. However, if, for example, having knocked someone unconscious, then you decide to further hurt or kill them to punish them, or you knew of an intended intruder and set a trap to hurt or kill them rather than involve the police, you would be acting with very excessive and gratuitous force and could be prosecuted. You are no longer acting in self-defense, and so the same degree of force may not be reasonable. However, you are still allowed to use reasonable force to recover your property and make a citizen's arrest. A rugby tackle or a single blow would probably be reasonable acting out of malice and revenge with the intent of inflicting punishment through injury or death would not. Consider your own safety and call the police. And finally, stay safe, speak to a solicitor if you need legal advice. Please subscribe to Community Legal Education to watch more videos in the series and many more. And may the justice be with you.